New skills are changing the face of the game right now. Let's talk about what exactly is changing, how the competitive modes are affected, and I want to hear from you guys. What is the skill you think has changed things the absolute most? But first, this is not a brag. What this is, though, is saying that I've seen quite a large cross-section of what this game has to offer. So, without further ado, let's move into Light Season. So first up in Light Season, we have to talk about Hardy Fighter save balls. And I'm showing this on defense, but understand the thing that is stopping them right now is all of the brave hits and things like desperation. This is a thing that's really putting a stop to a lot of the way that they've worked. And it just so happens that we have a skill in Armored Beacon that helps with that. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out, but I mean, you're looking at this, and this is Leone, who is coming in and just doing some serious damage versus these units, and it is something to behold. This is a unit that is free to play and is taking on a fairly invested defense. So, how far will Armored Beacon help? We're going to see. But for right now, with all of the new skills that you are able to get, in general, defenses are definitely trending downward. Next, we need to talk about Omni tanks, who are definitely trending upward. And summoners, how many of you got Dimitri off of your Hall of Forms? This unit is amazing, and in a lot of cases, it's just utterly decked out. But on top of that, you have so many units like Legendary Robin, the male version, who is giving grand strategy out and eliminating debuffs essentially. And you've got Ellawood, who is now no longer seasonally locked and can give bonus doubler. Summoners, these are some amazing buffs we're giving to Omni tanks. You add into that something like Lucia, who just negates so much of what offenses try to do. And in general, we're seeing this huge renaissance. You've been hearing about it. Summoners, some of these are strong enough that they don't even care about triangle attack anymore. It is absolutely spectacular. Stay tuned. I'm going to have a guide on these coming out soon, and I'm really excited about it. It is a lot of fun. Next up, we have AoEs, and I've seen these coming up more into prominence on offense, and I think they are something that you're going to be seeing more of with Armored Beacon being a thing. They are a wonderful counter to this. You're seeing Crom come in, who is an amazing user of this because of the fact that he can charge his own special, and in combination with Asker, you just have some crazy shenanigans going on, and you can see a fairly tight defense is just being taken apart by something like this. Keep in mind, these have been around a while. I've just started seeing more of them, but players like PM1 have used Brave Alm quite a bit, and the reason is he adds true damage to his area of effect kills. They are it's something you need to look for. It's something that is a lot of fun. I really think you should try this out. You should have this in your toolbox for some of the stronger defenses that you're seeing, you know, until we have Gateau show up on defense, which scares the ever-living crud out of me. But let's move on to, I have Bernie going up in value, but really it's more of a thing where she is more available now. There's two of her that can have this whole effect where you get into Wings of Mercy range easier, which is kind of phenomenal for a lot of these Wings of Mercy shenanigans, particularly with units like Nana here, who is coming in and just absolutely smashing my defense. It hurts a little bit every time I show these these losses that I have, by the way. It's, oh, poor Arden. But anyway, this is, again, something that you should have in your toolbox and be ready for. This is great for, look at this pin. That is a masterful pin. But things like Vantage are awesome too. In regards to Altina, you can clear a lot of things with that. Bernie in general, as defenses get bulkier, particularly with Armored Beacon and more of a lean towards that, is going to be a big thing in the current meta, and I think you're going to see a lot more of Bernie. Now, the last up, we need to show blind spots. Now, I'm sure you're wondering what this is. This is actually a clear from Akaris, who visited my defense, and is the thing that Akaris has always been good at, honestly, is he is able to actually sit back and take his time and pick apart defenses. Understand that every defense, no matter how good, has some blind spot somewhere. Now, he has found a perfect spot to sit Gateau. This is a +0 Gateau, and I keep telling you guys how good this unit is. Takes 4 hits from Elise. About to take 4 more from Actually, I think 2 more from Yoon. Not important. Anyway, this unit is able to find a little corner where just those units can get to him and able to take apart the rest of the defense after that. Understand that there's a lot of times where you need to look at a defense. If it's really hard, it's best just to set it down and let it marinate a little bit. I do this a lot. And I know you've probably been counseled this in some other area of your life, but it's nice to let your subconscious kind of chew on things. Understand that every defense has a kink, and sometimes it's a lot of fun to be able to track those down. Anyway, though, let's move on to Astra season. I'm sure you're looking at this going, why is Fomortis' value going down? Fomortis is an incredible unit, but you're just about to see Edelgard come in here and just absolutely smash him, and only that doesn't happen. Because Fomortis is amazing. But the thing is, it's not bonus season anymore. Like, he has lost stats. I still think he is a phenomenal near save, and you're seeing him right here. It's really, really nice. But the fact is, as a far save, he just needed more stats than what he's got. I just had a Yuri clear that I did with a +1 legendary Yuri that was able to absolutely smash him with little to no trouble. Yeah, bonus season is back, then you're going to be able to use him again, but keep in mind those are going to be few and far between because of the way they space them. So, Fomortis is still amazing, but without bonus stats, he's not as good. Still, you're going to be using this unit. Like, that's silly to say otherwise. The next up I want to talk about is dragons, and the thing is, I really thought the dragon renaissance was going to go further than it did. Like, we pretty much stopped short at Dragon's Ire and Dragon's Wrath 4. If we had gone on into, say, Dragon Wall 4, we'd probably be having a different conversation now, but as is, I mean, you're looking at Duma here, who I think we all said was just the second coming, and didn't quite get there. Now, this is on offense, and this is not quite his season, but there are a limited number of dragons that can really compete. And off the top of my head, I can think of 2, and that's Legendary Robin and Ascendant Tiki, and Legendary Rearmed Robin and Ascendant Tiki. The thing with those 2 are they both have speed. And speed is so important in this meta in order to secure kills, in order to do many, many things. But yeah, without that, your dragons, your slow dragons in particular, are really suffering right now. Now, it is time for us to talk about Guidance 4, and you're going to be hearing a lot about it in this entire episode because I love this skill. So, Guidance 4 is insane because of its mobility and the fact that it also offers null follow-up. Summoners, the bringing back unpredictability to defenses is just amazing. Not being able to know where units are going to go when is something that we haven't really seen lately because Catria balls had to be so bulky that they had to be very condensed and make sure that all of their units prioritized bulk. Because of Guidance, we have better overlap now, and I think you're going to see a lot of fun defenses come out of it. I think it is an incredible skill. If you would like to see more on this, you should go check out Infantry Pulse, and his recent Anima clears have had Mirabilis with this on her kit, and it is a sight to behold. It is really fun to see Guidance for Mirabilis. Moving on though, we have Vantage. I have Vantage ticking up a little bit, and the thing is, what happened? Ninja Camilla came out, and I was just dead positive that Ninja Camilla was going to be the unit that brought Hardy Bearing back. And that didn't happen. And because of that, you still have a lot of defenses that have, we talked about that blind spot, their blind spot is Vantage. If you look at this, we've got the Bolt Tower going off and just absolutely demolishing these units. You've got Fatal Smoke, Kranya coming in and ensuring that these units don't get healed. And from that, I mean, I have had Kranya just face tank units, like face tank Brave Seliph type units, and the rest just ping off of her as she she takes them down. It's phenomenal, and it is a strategy that you should have in your wheelhouse. Now, Ninja Camilla is better at this, but Kranya is more fun. All that to be said, if you are looking to have a Vantage team of your own, probably start with Brave Camilla over Kranya. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is rally traps, and This is just something, this is a real quick replay of a team that has been on the top ranks in my friends list for a bit. And I want to go over how this works because this is very much like the old Abipasta, the T, where basically all the units ping off of each other and head down until you finally get a Bridal Catria triangle attack hit. You can see how fast and how far everything moves down. It's very reminiscent of the old flyer balls and the way they move. It's a lot of fun. Are there counters to this? Yes. The reason I'm bringing this up is I think you need to be aware of this defense and be ready for it if it gains in popularity or if it just shows up. That being said, let's move into Chaos Season because Chaos Season is always nuts. The thing I want to bring up though is Bolt Tower, and I don't see enough people in Chaos Season using Bolt Tower. Keep in mind, this is DTM, who does all of the Aether Raids clears. He says this is the most valuable building. This is the great equalizer. For all of your player phase strategies, this is what's going to weaken the other team enough for Legendary Leaf to come in and absolutely demolish Mortis and Lucia. Yeah, would that have happened if that Bolt Tower would have existed? No, definitely not. But it really enables a lot of the things that this team is doing and lets them just absolutely demolish me. It was my one loss this season, and it's hard to get mad about this because it is such a good clear. Next up, I want to extol the glories of Lucia because we haven't heard that enough, right? What this really is talking about frontliners and choosing units that counter bonus strategies. One of the things that I'm a little bit proud of this, although I don't know how many of these teams had Carla, but the reason I had Lucia as a defensive frontliner here was because I knew Spring Carla was going to come in, Spring Carla was going to have specials, and it was going to be a mess, right? So Lucia was really able to keep that from happening. Now, every season I think this is going to be different, and I think Lucia is not the best one. Flame Lynn is absolutely spectacular at this job. You've got even units when you think of Ashe. New Year's Ashe is a fantastic melee frontliner, but don't neglect these in your defense. They are very, very good. The next thing we want to talk about is stat stacking, which is an interesting thing that we can now do on defense. And this is phenomenal. Maybe this is a bit of a brag in itself because I was so happy with how well this did. But Summoners, look at this, and this unit is pulling off, I missed, this is plus 38 attack, plus 59 speed for that Tana that just flew by. That's nuts. Then you've got Robin outspeeding Dimitri. Summoners, this was a sight to behold, and what really told me that this defense might actually work okay, which it did. It had that one defeat that you saw, but I mean, it's Chaos Season. You never know what's gonna go. Anyway, all that to say, the ability to take things like Grand Strategy and stack them up with Triandra here had Penalty Doubler and all of the other things that go along with this, along with drives and buffs and everything else. You are really approaching a meta where you can stat stack your defense, and it is a lot of fun, and Robin is really good, and I'm really happy I have him. Next up, we want to talk about Guidance 4 and the crazy things you can do with this, and I'll show this defense one more time because I really enjoyed using it. Summoners, honestly, Guidance 4, just bringing unpredictability to this meta is absolutely phenomenal. And in Chaos Season, we talked about it in Astra. In Chaos Season, it is even more so the case. Because honestly, this is the ultimate RNG for all of the competitive modes. Chaos defense, you just never know what you're going to get. So it is more important to have a defense that can slightly confuse your enemy than it is to have a good one. Because a good defense means a tested defense. And a tested defense usually means that someone has seen it before. So I would encourage you in Chaos Season to use more prototypes. Let's move on to Arena though, and I want to talk about the cheerleading meta as it is. And Summoners, right now we're kind of separated into two camps, and that is the folks that are on the legendary bonus, so the new legendary bonus every month, and the folks that are not. It is a very different meta for these two folks. With the advent of Legendary Robin and Yuri, and we're getting actual supportive defense actual support of arena units, which is interesting and a lot of fun if you have them. If you're going up with something with like legendary female Robin, they can be a lot of a pain, and you want to be able to buff these units just like in the old meta where, if you remember, you had to get all the kills with one unit. This is very similar, and it's just getting harder because the enemy team is able to buff their own units easier than they used to be. It used to be that in Arena, all you had to worry about were visible buffs. If you had something like Panic, you were just golden. Like Aversa is still an amazing arena unit. Anyway, all that to be said, you need to be bringing units that can support your team. You can do this with skills as opposed to getting the new legendaries, which at plus 10 is insanely expensive. But if you build up units that have, say, Guidance or Firestorm Dance, you can get a lot out of those. And we're going to talk about that in just a second with Peony. But I want to go over Yuri. All right, I am a huge fan of this unit. I do very much believe in the analysis we had in the recent live, and we had a whole bunch of Fae tubers come on and basically rank Yuri and how good he was percent-wise versus the old Yuri. And the consensus was kind of that 20% region. Like, this is a 20% better unit. And I completely agree with that in everything except Arena. And the deal is, this unit now scores highly, too. So you have all of the amazing things with Yuri, the fixed canto, the foul play, all of that. You get a unit that does a lot of damage, and you can see in this replay, like there are a couple kills that he misses. So this is not just an absolute premier nuke, but understand all of those other things make him an amazing support who scores well. And in Arena, what can I say? Summoners. For those of you who have this unit as a bonus unit, you are going to have an absolute blast this month. Next up, I want to talk about Dancers and Summoners. I can't tell you enough like how valuable these units are. You've got these two flavors again. For the folks who are trying to stay in tier 21, when you have the new bonus legendary, it means you have enough room on that threshold that you can now afford to put a Dancer on there. If you're in 20.5, bouncing between 21 and 20, you have enough room to put a Dancer on there. These units just make the mode so much easier, and I've got Peony up there because I think she's an absolutely amazing unit. If you don't have Peony, Racing. Seriously, we just got Green Dual Flying 4 in the monthly codes. Stick Firestorm Dance on there, stick Guidance on there, and this unit will absolutely help you own the maps. He is incredible. Do yourself a favor. Get a Dancer, use them. You'll like this mode a lot more. Next up is Summoner Duels. Okay, we're going to talk about Hardy Fighter here again, because why not? But the fact is, Hardy Fighter had been going down. I had planned on talking about how Hardy Fighter was going down even before Armored Beacon had come out. And the thing is, we have all of these Brave hits. We talked about them. It is now easier than ever to take out a far save in one hit. It just is. So we fast forward to Armored Beacon now, and now you have an actual reason not to use Hardy Fighter, which is crazy. Never thought I'd see the meta go that way. But yeah, Summoners. This is an interesting thing that we're going to see, and I'm curious how much Armored Beacon we're going to see in the next SDS. I know we're going to see a lot of it in the next SDR. The one thing I want to point out here is the play of Mark, and we still haven't seen enough of him to know how much of an influence on the meta he's going to be, just to be frank. What I will say, though, on this map, he's phenomenal. And from the little that I've played with him, I do believe he will be phenomenal in Summoner Duels S. Is he going to be a Summoner Duels R unit? No. Now, on all the other modes, I still stand by the fact that this is a very good unit and he hits very hard. I'm not going to comment on him yet. I want to see him more in Summoner Duels before we really dig into that. And I'm also very curious how we're going to be using him in Aether Raids. This next one is talking about Yuri, and I did this up before we had Legendary Yuri, but it falls into the same thing, and basically the interaction with Lind, and a lot of this is talking about bonuses, right? We've already talked about bonuses are the thing right now, And you got a very synergistic team. This was the team I saw Fieri do, and very good at putting together teams, and I absolutely loved it. And you can see AoE Lind there, which is such a great idea. So you've got this unit coming in, and then you've got Yuri ignoring terrain. Interactions like this are something you want to be looking for, and I think these two units in particular work very well together on maps like this. But Lind giving out NFU and ignoring terrain, and then Yuri having the 3 movement and all of the infantry buffs is just a thing that is very nice. Now, is it as nice as this next thing? No, because Guidance 4 is busted. Can you tell I love this skill? I have a weakness for flyers in general. They're probably my most invested units as a whole. And so this was just, Rearmed Tana was like my favorite thing to come out ever. I just absolutely loved that. But looking at how this works and putting it on a unit like Katria, allowing folks to come in from many different ways, and summoners, what can I say? I mean, this is Guidance 4 in Summoner Duels is just absolutely bonkers, and I think we're going to see a ton of it. I think the good teams are going to have it on every single one of their different teams. It's the way it's going to go. Like, this is something you're going to see a lot of, and I love it because I love flyers. What can I say? All right, the last thing we want to talk about is fodder in general. Now, we've gone over this, but this is really the way that the game is progressing right now. They are progressing the game through giving us stuff like Guidance and Firestorm Dance and all of that. The question is always, where do I put this fodder? How do I do that? And how do I decide which units are best? And that is a tough call. Honestly, this is some expensive stuff. Like, you're talking about in the range of 200 orbs, which is 2/3 of your monthly income for a skill. The first thing I will say is I would follow Oblivion's example, and he just did a stream where he dumped a whole bunch of fodder, and your favorites go first, period. I know that sounds weird from a very competitive leaning channel as this is, but honestly, your favorite units are the ones you're going to use the most. That's just the way it's going to go. And because of that, they are going to be most worked into all of your other stuff if they're on those favorites. So it's just a practical thing. Let's move on though. For the second thing you really want to look at when you're looking at fodder is your tried and true supports. And I have 2 of those here in Peony and Katria. Katria I use a ton in Summoner Duels and on Aetherid's defense, and then Peony I use in Aetherid's offense, and I also use in Arena. So these are 2 modes apiece that I get a ton of mileage out of this. These are units that have stood the test of time. Mythic Dancers, I don't see a case where they ever get bad, period. Bridal Katria, I have given up on saying when this unit is going to be bad because I think she just stays phenomenal. I think she's the great free-to-play equalizer. Like, honestly, you free-to-play folks need to stop complaining about this unit because she is what allows you to take out these absolutely wailed out units. Katria is the answer, not the problem. But past that, you've got units that, the last thing here is looking at units that IS just tends to have a bias towards. And I'll name 2 of those right here, but Brave Hector. I'm done saying this unit is fading because every time he does, something comes in and boosts him back up. Armored Beacon on him is absolutely crazy. It is such a good skill on him. The other one of those is Duo Crom. And you'll know these units. They're the ones that absolutely everyone has. And hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? These are units that you can shower fodder on without really having to worry about it. I don't have my Crom here shown, but he has Special Spiral 4 and a range of other things and just absolutely smashes things. It's a lot of fun. So, these are the easy answers. For the harder answers, I encourage you, pop into the Discord, ask questions. There's a lot of folks that want to help there. Summoners, speaking of Armored Beacon, and we had a lot of it in this episode, I just put out a guide to that, how to use it, what it looks like, and all of that great stuff. I encourage you to go check that out. I hope you guys are all doing well. Take care and schedule an appointment with your FEHologist real soon.